guys are here with another episode of TGL Talks. This time we are talking to the one, the only, the magnificent, amazing Tony Washington.
Hey.
Tony.
How's it going, guys?
Thank you
Going
so
on?
much for joining us.
It's going great.
You know,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, with us is always, we got Guy, Danny, myself, and Baltimore there at the bottom of your screen, and we're going to be talking to Tony about his long and sordid past in the underbelly of the entertainment industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
No.
you got your start in comics.
Yes.
You've done comics, games, movies, trading cards. You've done a whole gamut of stuff. So
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. You start at Image.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I lucked out and I got hired. I was in art school at the time. I was at Cal Arts up in Valencia. And my heart was like, I gotta do comic books. I remember seeing Spawn and so many other books. Yeah, the Image was starting to blow up off of Savage Dragon. And I was like, I want to do comics. That's what I want to do. So while I was in art school, I was working on my portfolio during summer session, and I got a train ride down to Comic-Con, and I lucked out and got hired by Wildstorm when I was at Comic-Con when I was 18. So I left art school and
Wow.
full time in the comics.
Wow.
So I was very lucky. So
I know that's my story. Was I was going to college. I wanted to get in the video game industry, and then the door opened up for me to kind of get in at the bottom doing tech support. But I'm like, well, okay,
Hey,
well, I just
gotta do it.
Worked my way up. So
yeah.
So
Wow.
what,
So Tony, which titles did you at Image? Which titles did you start out on and cut your teeth on?
First book I ever worked on professionally was Wetworks.
Wow.
I was one of the colorists on that book. And then from there, I went on to, I think, Gen 13, Wildcats, Divine Right, Phantom Guard, Black Ops EV8. So quite a few different books over there. And then that led to other opportunities with like Marvel and DC and going pretty much freelance. And then, that which led right into video games at Midway, which is where I met, so many amazing people, including in this podcast. So, yeah, I mean, but definitely the start is over at Wildstorm. They gave me the opportunity to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Awesome.
now when you went to Midway, I mean, we met I
Mhm.
think in testing.
Yeah, in testing. Yeah.
So did you have an art position and then kind of sat in testing till another one opened up, or did you get into testing to get into the art?
I was working full time at Wildstorm and testing at the same time. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
so yeah, it's like 80 hours a week. But I was so excited to be working in video games and in comic books. Plus I was like, well, I'm not gonna say my age yet. But I was working in both industries and I was enjoying both. So I didn't want to leave. So
Right.
I did 80 hours a week for as long as I could. So,
And back at that time, we could pull off stuff like that.
Yep. Not anymore.
Not so much.
Yeah.
All right. So,
But-
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but that's where, yeah, definitely. I was working graveyard shift at Wildstorm, and then I would come in the morning in the testing lab to work on, Cruising USA and Mortal Kombat. So it was awesome. I loved it.
So when you transitioned from testing into internal, which project did they bring you in on?
Oh man, because I was trying to think, in gaming, as you guys know, some of the games actually just don't come out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the first one I was working on was, I believe it was like a stunt racer kind of game where it was you would do a series of stunts and it'd be recorded, and you got to get the perfect take in order to get the a gold or whatever the medal would be in the game. But off to that to Ready to Rumble 3, I want to say, and then that didn't come out. So there was quite a few games I worked on over there, including like Gravity games, which actually did come out, I think.
I know, it's like you look at the titles that we worked on,
I'm like, come on.
And then the ones that got released and the ones that got canned, and you're sitting there like,
I don't
I
know.
I don't. I
I'll
told
never
you.
unhear that guitar riff.
Yeah, oh no,
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
dude. And then
You're welcome.
Justice League. Justice League was the last one
Yep.
that I worked on over at Midway. I would have wished that came out because that was looking so cool.
Yeah, that was, I still, of all the projects I've worked on, many have got canceled. The Justice League project that we are working on is by far like my biggest kind of regret that it never, I wish I could have seen it to fruition.
Yeah.
It still haunts my dreams. It's like I had worked my way up. I was writing stories for Justice League. I was working with amazing talent like Tony Washington, who was doing some.
Not even, man. Appreciate that though.
Not even my butt. But and it was just, it's just gone. It never saw the light of day. Now, is there a project you've worked on that didn't get released that, like for me, is Justice League? For you, that would be like, I want to go back and make this happen, or I wish it really would have panned out?
Oh man, I was working on because there was a few different titles, movie-wise, that I was working on that I wish actually came out, and one of them I worked on two that didn't come out. One was Zelda, and that never came out, and the other one was Battle of the Planets or Gatchaman. I was working on.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Both. There's footage I know I've seen it online for Gatchaman that someone got on. But yeah, both of those. If that would have been so cool. I mean, Gatchaman, it looked incredible. I mean, what the team was doing. Yeah, I was part of like early development, like doing some concept stuff and color theory and lighting on that film, and the rest of the team. There's some incredibly talented guys on that production, and unfortunately, after Turtles came out. We went straight into production on those two films. I think Astro Boy was the only one that came out after Turtles, but
did you work on the Astro Boy?
No, I worked on the other department. Who I was doing this pre-production and on the Scotchman and Zelda at the time, and they were full board on Astro Boy. So I would have what they were doing looked great. I never got a chance to actually see the film, but. But definitely, those two, if they came out, it would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned you worked on Turtles, so let's talk about the stuff you've worked on that did come out.
Okay.
So, TMNT, the 2009, 2007?
It was
2007.
Yeah.
With Kevin Monroe, another Midway alum.
Absolutely.
And then, did you work on Devil Dogs with him? Or no?
Only I worked on the Dylan stuff with him. I did just a one piece, like almost like a poster art for the Dylan Dog stuff for him. Just almost like a pitch piece to kind of get the film off the ground. Mm-hmm. So I worked on that with him, and then we actually teamed up again on the Ratchet and Clank movie that came out a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
So we worked together on that again. So it's awesome to work with Kevin. That dude is incredible. So guys.
I had a ton of nothing but respect for him, working with him on Freaky Flyers and stuff. The guy's,
absolutely.
The guy's a powerhouse. So nothing but. Speaking of, in my research, when I was putting together stuff for this interview, and I don't mean to be hogging the floor. After this, I'll give it to one of the other guys. But El Zombo, which we worked on with Dave Wilkins and Kevin, I saw a piece that there was a movie in the works.
Not sure when that's going to come out. Honestly, Kevin and Dave would definitely know a lot more about the film. I definitely heard about that too. So I hope it does come out. That would be incredible to be a part of that. And Kevin and Dave, I'm sure there'd be some co-directing going on in that, and they would make it happen. But I mean, definitely that was something that I heard about maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago, that it could actually come to fruition for a film. And I'm like, dude, that would be incredible to be, watch this comic book that we all worked on just come to life like that. So I hope it happens.
Yeah, it was like a 3-issue run through Dark Horse, and Tony here did the colors on it.
Yeah.
El Zombo Phantasma?
Yeah, Phantasma. Yep.
Check it out. It's a great series. Some great coloring work.
I appreciate that. Now, those guys, it's all about those guys, man. I mean, it was definitely an honor to be a part of that book. So, if you guys can, definitely check it out. It was a lot of fun. It came out. You might be able to find trades maybe on eBay, but yeah, it came out quite a while ago. But it was a lot of fun being a part of that series.
Oh, cool.
Right on.
So you recently just got back from PowerCon.
Yeah.
Facing some of your master's work. Can you talk about that? I mean, I think you said that you've been at all of the PowerCons except for the one in New York.
Yeah, definitely. I used to work doing comics. I was freelance for years and still freelance, definitely. But I worked on a lot of the Masters of the Universe comic series. So like Rise of the Snake Men, Icons of Evil, Merman. I had, just a massive honor to be asked to do those with MB Creations. So I was working with those guys and just doing colors on those. And then that led off a few years later. I got a call from Val Staples. Definitely, one of the reasons why I'm still doing what I do today is because of Val and John Boy and Matt and the whole team at MB Creations. They looked out for me. So when I got the opportunity to come to PowerCon, I'm like, you're doing a He-Man convention? So I'm like, of course I'm coming to that. So they came up to Torrance and I met with everybody, and it was a smaller ballroom for the first one, and then they expanded for the second year and got a much bigger ballroom, and it's been continued to expand. So really, it's one of my favorite shows of the years. I mean, you can actually Comic-Con's incredible, and I love Comic-Con, and I've been very fortunate to be there for about 7 or 8 years in a row now. But PowerCon, you can actually hear people.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's really fun, and there's all the panels. Everyone can get into all the panels. There's never an issue where you can't get into a panel, and there's lots of screenings and cool exclusives at that show. So it's a really, really great. If you're diehard, He-Man, She-Ra, this Masters of the Universe stuff, that's the show, to go to. And, thanks again to Leanne and Danielle, Val and Matt, and again, John Boy for having me out to that. They've taken care of me. So
that's really awesome. Yeah. I saw your, the Skeletor and the He-Man.
Oh yeah.
The exclusives that you had up there, that were really, really neat. Yeah.
Oh no, thank you guys.
So I had a question, and I know my fiance is a big Overwatch fan.
Oh yeah.
She'll definitely want to hear this on the video later.
Okay.
So as you know, Overwatch has become a bit of a cultural phenomenon in gaming, and so how did you come into working on the comic book and more in specific the motion comic reveal of Doomfist?
Yeah, that was honestly we were really under the gun on that when we were moving. I mean, I think I worked on that book for 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at the most. So we were plowing to get that thing done. I got contacted from the main artist on it, Ryan Benjamin. I've worked with Blizzard for years, worked on the Ashbringer miniseries, Curse of the Worgen, and then they transitioned me over to trading cards. So I was doing a lot of the trading card stuff before Hearthstone, and then I got onto Hearthstone doing trading cards for that. And then right around that time, I got contacted from Ryan, who was, "Hey man, how's your schedule looking?" So I'm like, what are we talking about? So he was just like, "Hey man, Doomfist is about to get revealed." I'm like, what's this Doomfist stuff? So he contacted me, and thankfully the guys at Blizzard had me on board for Doomfist. So it was an incredibly fast production turnaround. And because we were doing simultaneous pages that are layered, that would get sent to animation at the same time that we're drawing and coloring all the panels. So it was seriously I don't know, 15-hour days straight just to get that thing done. So I'm glad people dug it, and the response was unreal.
It's huge. I mean, I've got a friend who just finished his Doomfist. The fist. He just finished it because that's his next cosplay that he's going to do, and he just finished it yesterday. So it's already making a huge impact.
Nah, he's a very cool character, and I love the animated reveal as well. So I mean, beyond just our motion comic stuff that we did, but yeah, it's an incredible honor to be a part of working on that universe as well. I mean, those guys are Blizzard's just taking stuff over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So they tapped you for the next character reveal?
I don't know yet.
Likely, but they won't say anything. Neither can you.
Yeah, that is correct.
So
that's right. It's called an NDA.
Yep.
Kaiser.
So another question. Yeah, exactly. Another question that Kaiser had alluded to was you've already done a lot of various mediums, just everything from cards to comics to everything else. Has there been a medium that you haven't been able to try yet that you'd like to?
Holy cow. Wow. Well, for me, I mean, I was slowly learning a lot more in the VR area. So I've released a couple of different videos that are out on YouTube that are VR based. I really want to try to figure out more ways of doing narrative in VR. So if anything, that would be where I really want to start focusing on a lot more. And there are some opportunities coming up for that to happen. So so most likely next year, I'll be able to explore a lot more in narrative storytelling within VR or even AR, VR if I can, but definitely VR. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
And, don't be modest. The stuff you have dabbled in VR is award-winning.
It could win a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I'm super, fortunate to be a part of the videos that have come out. They were through the DJ of the BC Boys Mixmaster Mike. Myself.
Dude, what?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've known Mike for 4 or 5 years. Met him at Comic-Con. He came to out of nowhere. He was doing a panel for Teen Titans. He just remixed the song, and he was walking around with his manager around Artist Alley and happened to stop by my table, and we got to talking, and he was like, "Dude, you want to do some album covers?" I'm like, and I didn't stop saying for like 30 seconds, but I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." So,
you're like, here, I have this one I've designed for you years ago. I've been waiting for this moment.
It's us hanging out together side by side. Isn't that great?
That's pretty cool, man. Check me out. Got all your albums right behind me.
Wow,
best friends forever.
That's not creepy, right?
Really cool.
So yeah, and that led to working on a couple of different VR projects with Jonathan Wimbush, and we did 2 videos, and the first one won 4 different awards for the first one that came out called Magma Chamber. So it's on his channel. It's online. But yeah, and I that really sparked my imagination to really want to jump out and do a lot more just narrative VR stuff. So one of my personal projects is actually going to have a lot of VR storytelling that kind of is complementary to the actual comic book I'm doing, but that VR is so cool, and there's a lot that can be done in it. So definitely that.
We're definitely in the infancy stage of VR, and it's going to just grow and grow and grow as more people adopt it, and we're just gonna. I know we're gonna see, because I'm a fan of books by like William Gibson and Neil Stevenson, where it's cyberpunk and all of this kind of stuff, and I totally see VR getting embedded in our just mainstream lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think it is going to do. I mean, seriously, the technology is going to get better and better. So you're not having to wear 80,000-pound headsets, but it's going to get better. So it's just possibly just glasses or something even that we don't even know of yet. But
contacts.
Exactly, contacts. But it's going down that road for sure.
It'd be really, really cool, because just you can be part of the story and just feel surrounded by the narrative. It's just going to be incredible. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what else you do with it.
Nah, I hope it's cool.
So is there, with everything you've worked on,
Sure.
is there a particular series or something that would be an absolute dream for you to get a job on?
Oh man.
Like you've done World of Warcraft, G.I.
Yeah.
Joe, Wonder Woman, Turtles. I mean,
Right, you've already hit like really, really big ones, and then there's also really great indie projects too.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a hard question. I mean, for me, I've never worked on a Batman piece, and I've been doing.
Okay.
I've never, and that's probably one of my favorite characters. Period. Next to Spawn, and is also one of my favorites. But I think something along the Batman lines, or even some kind of a Gotham-related story. I mean, I love dark and gritty stuff. I've had the honor to do really dark stuff like The Crow, and I've loved working on that kind of stuff. But I think something Gotham-related, Batman in particular, or Nightwing.
Yes.
I think either or would be a ton of fun to work on.
I'd love to see your take on some Nightwing stuff.
Oh yeah, DC,
Batman.
DC, make it happen.
What's up, DC?
I'd love to see his coloring on Nightwing, man. That'd be really cool.
No, I would love to do that. So either of those, I think those are some that I've never had an opportunity to work on. So yeah, definitely either of those would be perfect for me.
Cool.
You mentioned a comic that you're working on. Is this related to the station stories, your music as
Absolutely.
well? So are you melding everything into one?
Yeah.
Kinda now?
Yeah. Yep. I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna go crazy like this, I might as well just bring everything into one world. So yeah, I'm producing an all new album. That you just mentioned, Kaiser, for it's called Station Stories. So you can see maybe little hints of stuff behind my head. I'm working on. It's basically going to be the plan is a 6-issue miniseries that I'm going to be doing based off of I've made all these albums that they're all instrumental based, but my whole take on it is just to give location or give a story for every single song. So there is no lyrics whatsoever. So wherever the original, the other 4 that I've done, they're all atmospheric, very, very soundtrack based. So you kind of create your own worlds to the music that I'm producing. But the new one I'm working on right now, I'm literally writing a story to it and drawing art, as you can see behind me, and doing everything into one thing. So it's a lot, but I really wanted to. I've never released my own personal stuff, so I was like, why not just go crazy on this? And which is why I mentioned VR. Some of the people I'm talking with to do this with me on is definitely on board to help me to produce these things, and to like I said, have more complimentary storytelling. So they'll have a little backstory stuff from some of the characters that are in the story, just to kind of give them more context. So there's one main character, absolutely. I don't want to spoil too much right now, but that the story focuses on. She's a teenage girl who's got some very, very interesting abilities. So, but there's a group of definitely some badasses that have to protect her. So so some of their backstories are going to be taken care of within VR, and you'll be able to see some narrative stuff in there. So it'll I really want to push the envelope on what I can do personally, because I've never done a project this massive on my own. So,
right.
But so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm definitely got some great help from an amazing illustrator you guys should check out. His name is Micah Kenshiro. He's doing a lot of the layout on the book for me to help me out, because I'm like, dude, I can't draw every page, produce music, and all the VR. That's not gonna happen.
Well, why not?
Wow.
It's not like you have work to do.
Nah, sleep stuff. I don't sleep.
Food.
Yeah, eat. What's that?
What's that all about?
So, but yeah, so next year, that's the plan, is to have that released, and hopefully spring of next year it'll start to come out, and we'll see. And I'm definitely, and hopefully you'll see it in a different format. I'm working on pitching right now, so hopefully I'll be able to announce something pretty soon on how this book's actually going to come out. So,
Awesome, because I was going to ask you. You had mentioned you're working on a pitch. Is this tied to that whole?
It's all tied to that. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very,
so
very cool.
We'll see. Hopefully in the next next month or so. If it does, then I'll definitely share the information with you guys, so let you know how it's coming out and stuff.
That'd be great.
Yeah, please do. We'd love to see it and hear it and experience it.
Yeah, release some food. Just give me a food line. Also.
Well, Guy will be happy. He likes food.
That's why I come here, really.
No, but yeah, definitely that's what it's all related towards right now. So that's all these things that I've been doing over the past 20 years or so. It's been all leading to this stuff. So but I've been working on music, producing music since I was 16, 15. I've been playing bass and piano and all that kind of stuff since a teenager, but never really, this always was like a moonlighting or a hobby kind of a thing for the music. But I'm like, you know what, let me just produce all this stuff at one time and just release it and see what happens. So yeah, we'll see.
Awesome, man. Yeah, because I remember catching you down in, was it OB or PB, doing some Red Llama Dog shows.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah,
slapping the bass.
Yes.
I slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass.
Yeah, man. I was doing Red Llama Dog was an awesome band, man. I love working with those guys. They were like reggae and Latin soul and hip hop, and it was a lot of.
Yeah,
it was a lot. But it was fun, man. I love playing all that stuff. But I haven't played live in years, man. But I was dang. When was that show?
2001. 2001.
Okay. Remember, we don't talk about how long ago it was.
In the before times.
Last weekend.
It was last weekend.
Sorry about that.
I haven't played with them for years. Oh yeah, it was last weekend.
That's the years I meant last weekend.
I am 19.
That's right. We're all 19.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Oh no, thank you guys so much for having me on. Seriously, I really appreciate it.
Is there anything else that you're working on you want to pitch, or anything that you've done that you want to say, hey, check out?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. As far as any game stuff, Knack 2 just came out on PS4, and I had the very lucky to be a part of the cinematics team on that. So that game just came out this month, and it's out now if you guys get a chance to check that out. But other than that, I mean, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to have me on. It's definitely an honor.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Honor's on us, man.
All right. Thank you, guys.
So that was Tony Washington. This is the Total Geek Live crew. And as we always say, it's all geek to us. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Tony. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, guys. See you.
Thank you so much.
Drive angry.
What? Don't drive angry?
Don't drive angry.
Oh yeah, problem. Gone.
Well, sure,
Sensitive.
Good.
Now, hold on.
like
Sorry, I gotta clear my throat. Now we're getting to the heart of this sucker. I got my spray. It's getting deep now. I'm sorry, Tony.
All right. Now we're getting down to brass tacks.
He's tired of this small field softball stuff.